Davos, Bilderberg Group, World Economic Forum, these people are paving the way for the central bank digital currency methods to happen. They're, in my opinion, if you read the book The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab, and you read Agenda 2030 by the United Nations, which is public information, United Nations, it tells you everything that's happened this far. You can see where they talk about digital currencies. You can see where they talk about the collapse of the current system, because there's no way that the US is going to pay their debt off. There's no way that Canada is going to pay their debt off. The entire system on fractional reserve banking was never able ever to be paid off. It's impossible. You learn about fractional reserve banking and you'll learn why it's so corrupt. And then when you learn about deflationary assets and decentralized assets, it all just makes more sense. I'm interested in my personal health, my personal wealth, and how I interact with the people, your vibe at Tax Your Tithe. Like, I don't want to spend my time, my energy, and my money in a place where it's not received well and where I don't get something valuable out of it. And like you said, voting with your dollar, voting with your time, voting with your energy. And we got to take our health back before any of this, because if you don't have health, then you're not going to have wealth, or at least you won't be able to spend your wealth. So it's all, in my opinion, encompassed all together. And Mike, you make some great, valid points. You always got that truth theory.
Hey, this is Mike Sigula from TruthTheory.com, and today I have an interview for you with Justin Booth. Justin is an interesting guy. He went through his transformation in 2012. He was abusing substances, partying like an animal, and ended up in hospital with second stage kidney failure. And this triggered his self-healing journey, where he went through spiritual awakening. He started using wheatgrass and nutrition and meditation and breath work and other practices. And over the next few months, he was able to reverse his condition, and doctors said they misdiagnosed him. They didn't believe what was happening. So this really triggered his interest in personal development, health and wellness, and this is what he's going to talk about today. It led him to start a couple of different businesses in spaces like cannabis, wheatgrass, cryptocurrencies, all sorts of really interesting projects. And also, if you want to learn about cryptocurrencies, blockchain, you definitely should check out this episode of Truth Theory podcast. And for anyone who is already involved in crypto, this is a must-watch episode, because Justin is actually talking about some really interesting projects and tools that he is using to have financial independence. He is using an AI software that is doing trading automatically. So this is one of his big projects that I've been using sometimes as well, and it's really is something that you should look into if you want to generate some extra revenue stream, or you want to learn about cryptocurrencies. You want to see what are some of the options. I know a lot of people think the market is going down, but this is just a cyclic thing, which Justin actually gonna explain in this interview. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, this is Justin Booth. Alright, this is Mike Sigula from TruthTheory.com, and this is Truth Theory Podcast, and I'm here today with Justin Booth, who came all the way from Canada, and we are currently in England, Oxford, secret location. So Justin is involved in a lot of interesting projects and spaces that we're gonna talk about today. He's actually the partner for Collective Evolution and currently the Pulse, because they're like two companies.
Strategic partner,
partner, right? He's the CEO of isellgrass.com and also a co-founder and CEO of InvestorAcademyCrypto.com. And Justin, tell us a little bit about your journey, because I know we've known each other for a couple of years, and I know a little bit about your story, and it's interesting when you used to party hard into extreme and then you went through transformation, and maybe you can tell us like the whole story, what's happened.
Sure. Well, thanks, Mike, for having me and meeting me in this secret location, first off. Yeah, I mean, my entire life, I've been working in and out of the financial industry. I've managed some massive pre-legal collection agencies, and I was making a lot of money. And the more money I made, the deeper I would grind my soul and my body into the ground. And at one point, September 21st, 2012, I ended up in the hospital with diagnosed with second stage kidney failure, jaundice of the liver. I had extreme anxiety, depression. I had psoriasis. Like literally, I looked like a lizard person. The way that my skin was flaking, boils growing out, lymph nodes in my body. And at the time, I was about 132 pounds soaking wet. And poor nutrition, poor mental wellness. And then working, in my opinion, I was working for the powers that be, the financial system, and it just wore and tore on my body and my soul until it gave up. And
but basically, you also had this period of like raving and drug abuse.
Oh yes, yeah. I mean,
was linked. All these things.
Definitely. So the more, as I was mentioning, like the more money I made, the more I was partying. I would go to a rave on Friday night, and I'd stay up Friday through Saturday. Same thing. I wouldn't get any sleep, and then I would just keep doing different drugs like ketamine and ecstasy and cocaine, and after a while it got into crack cocaine and methamphetamines, and that's it was debilitating. It was debilitating. And then I would sleep for 7-8 hours on Sunday until I had to go to work on Monday, and then just tough through the week doing little bits of drugs to keep me up through the week work. And then again, that's when it all imploded on me. Shortly after, so I went to the hospital, got diagnosed. They gave me drugs to get off the drugs. Ativans, lorazepams, antidepressants, all these different things. Yeah. And about 30-40 days after, I found myself wanting to commit suicide, and I had like a complete mental breakdown. And it was like a work of God, source, whatever you want to label it as. I met this lady in a park, and I was like just crying in public. She came down, put her hand on my hand, and just asked me what was going on. And I had never really opened up or communicated to people of what, deep down was going on.
So basically, like, you just laid on the bench or something, and a random person came over.
Exactly. Sitting in a park bench in Toronto. I forget, it was like college, and I forget what the actual location is, but nonetheless, when she put her hand on my hand, she knew things about me that even Facebook didn't know at the time. And I posted everything on Facebook at the time. So,
can you give some examples?
Well, I mean, anything that I was doing, whether I thought it was funny or crude or, partying, and, aside from actually showing me doing lines on Facebook, like everything about my life was publicized. And, so she knew, like, I was, having issues communicating with my father. I've had that all my life. She knew that I had some form of addiction problem, and she knew that I needed to make a change. And she started talking to me about things that we talked about spirituality and UFOs and extraterrestrials, and it got me thinking.
But that was like the first time you really got interested in this kind of stuff?
I've always thought cool things about UFOs, but I was never really feeling connected to it. I thought it was just a mystery. There was no proof. There was no, because I had never had a UFO land in my backyard and me go up in for a ride. I had no real experiences with this. Shortly after this, all these different experiences started to happen. One of the most important things that she taught me about was alkalizing decalcifying my pineal gland was so important to do. And one of the ways to do that was by alkalizing my system, my body, learning about meditation, learning about breath work. And it was like my new addiction in a sense, because as soon as I started putting the healthy foods in my body, wheatgrass specifically, because that wheatgrass juice, after doing a 90-day cleanse and doing meditation and breath work and exercising, I went back to the hospital to do my checkups and whatnot, blood work, ECGs, everything. And the same doctors that diagnosed me told me that I had been misdiagnosed because it was impossible to reverse kidney failure. It was impossible to make these differences and changes.
So basically, you've been doing wheatgrass for a couple of weeks or months?
At that time, it was about just over 3 months after when I went back to the hospital.
And like the main thing that made the difference, you think that was the wheatgrass?
The wheatgrass, when you start to learn about the power of wheatgrass itself, and you learn about, people like Dr. Brian Clement from Hippocrates Health Institute or Ann Wigmore, and the things that they did and researched and proved back in the day, like after World War II and then moving up into the 80s and 90s, like it's phenomenal what's happened. And they still do this at Hippocrates Health Institute. They have like an 85% healing rate, doing blood work every week with the people that have been there with stage 3 and 4 cancers, uncurable diseases, and they literally change their life around, and they show this through the blood work. It was even crazier if you look at chlorophyll as a molecular structure, and you look at the iron from blood. They literally are the exact same molecular structure. There's a little bit of a difference, but like there's no two snowflakes in the world that are the same. That's the same with chemical compounds. And then when you start learning about how the wheatgrass itself captures the sun's energy using the minerals in the soil, and how it has 96 of the 115 elements from the scientific table. There's no other food on the planet that comes close to that type of nutritional value. And it literally cleans, there's nothing that it doesn't do. It cleans your GI tract, it balances your hemoglobins, it cleans your skin, it cleans your breath, it gives you high vibe energy, it gives you iron, it gives you iron rich, chlorophyll rich, and it's hands down, even animals, meat eaters in the jungle, cats, dogs, when they're sick, what do? They eat grass. But humans, we can't digest the grass. So in order for us to extract the energy, the life force out of the grass, we need to juice it. Once we've juiced it, we can actually swallow it, ingest it, and it will absorb right into the bloodstream. And they say that every 1 ounce of wheatgrass has the equivalent value of eating like 2.5 pounds of various green vegetables. So I mean, it's not the same. You can still eat 2.5 pounds of green vegetables, but it's the same mineral content and richness, enzymes for the body.
Yeah, and absorption is
instant.
So basically, through your experience and self-healing journey, you got involved in selling wheatgrass on isellgrass.com, right?
Correct.
This is like the business you started after.
Yeah.
You started
well,
learning.
I tried growing it, and I tried doing all these other different things with it. But the place where I've been getting the wheatgrass, and they've been doing this for over 45 years. I became really good friends with the farmer, his wife, his son, learning about stories from other people that were consuming their wheatgrass. So I just, I built a webpage called isellgrass.com because I thought it was funny. People are like, oh, you sell grass? They think of it as weed. It was just really catchy. And then it just built after that. You go to isellgrass.com anywhere in Canada and the US, they will deliver it tax-free, free rush delivery charge, and you can get various different sizes delivered to your house. It's frozen, flash frozen, encapsulated in a styrofoam container with saltwater solution that's frozen on the outside. And you just take the sheets of wheatgrass when they come to you, and you put it in your freezer and you leave it. When you want to drink it, you just take the cubes.
But when you freeze it, it doesn't destroy the nutrition.
So there is people who talk about those different things. What they do is they do a flash frozen process, and some of the ways that you can test this, if you if you were to take hydrogen peroxide and put it on your skin, it doesn't do anything. But if you had an open flesh wound where the enzymes and the bacteria are live and acting, then it will bubble up and it will turn yellow and everything like that. So you can do the exact same thing with wheatgrass. You drop it on it when it's frozen, nothing happens. Then you drop it on it when it's melted onto the ground, and boom, you'll see the foam come up. But it's bioavailable, it's nutritional rich. I think that it could lose a tiny fraction of healing value, yes, but if you're going to pasteurize wheatgrass and put it as a powder or anything like that, then you're destroying the whole purpose of it, because it's the enzymes and the bacteria that's captured from the juicing of the grass that are doing everything to heal our body.
Okay. And so with isogras, wheatgrass is like the main product you guys are selling? Or?
Yeah, we had a few other products on there as well. We have a CBD company that we're affiliated with as well called newleafcanada.com. But the wheatgrass page had a bunch of other different products, but as I've grown and expanded into the crypto industry as I have done now, I really had less time to focus on those products. So the wheatgrass, it's there, people click, it's delivered, it's simple, it's fast, it's easy. And the same thing with the CBD oil. It's a full spectrum CBD added with lipid liposomes added to it, so it actually increases the absorption by 300% into the body. But again, simple. You go to the webpage, you click the button, and our distribution facility takes care of the.
And that's distribution for Canada only, or
no? We can
well?
With the CBD, we can pretty much ship it to any country that finds CBD legal. And the wheatgrass, we're restricted to Canada and US just because of the shipping processes and duties and taxes. We've got 3 fulfillment centers in the US and 2 here in Canada. And so when someone orders it, it's just shipped out from the prospected distribution center where we keep it frozen at those centers.
Okay, so let's get into what you're more involved in now, which is crypto space.
Yeah. That's been a lot of fun.
It's interesting because recently we're hearing a lot of stories that the market is going down. It's kind of like, it's still up in comparison to like 2 years ago, something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
it's still much better, but
it has a pattern.
Fluctuates a lot, so media is always like, oh, it's crashing again, but it's only crashing in retrospect to like.
Well, you know what a fractal is,
fractal,
right?
Yeah.
Fractal pattern.
Yeah.
So if you look at the history of Bitcoin, every 3.5 to 4 years, we see the same sort of fractal pattern where in 2013. Bitcoin was, from $1 to $150 or something like that, or $300, which is a crazy increase if you're buying stocks, or in that sense. So and then it crashed back down, but it didn't go back down to $1. It went back down close to it, and it rode it for a while until 2016-17, when we had a huge explosion where Bitcoin went from. And this is where I just started to get into cryptocurrencies back in 2017, but I think it was April 1st, Japan considered it legal tender or a way to make payments. And it went from, I think it was like $500 to $20,000 US in that short amount of time. And then boom, 2018, the market crashed. It went down to about $6,000 value. And then further, it went down further to about $3,000, which again, $3,000 was still higher than it was in the last, what we call bull cycle, Bitcoin bull cycle. And then in 2021, we had where COVID happened in March 2020, and then from March 2020 to coming into September 2021, in that space, we had the exact same fractal. Bitcoin went from $3,000 value per token to just under 70, and we're talking in US dollars, and then it went up to 70, just almost $70,000 US in that cycle.
But I actually, because it's interesting what you said about like these fractal patterns. Mm-hmm. If you look at the history of the .com era in the 90s, it was very similar. So it's kind of, it was like a new market, same like with crypto, right? So first you had more or less like 9-10 years in the 90s,
Mm-hmm.
where these dot-com businesses were starting, and then you had a peak around 2000, 1999, where, you know, like Amazon went by whatever 1000% or something up.
Mm-hmm.
eBay, I think PayPal was growing as well. So it was this crazy year where everyone was like investing, putting money into it. All the startups, like shitty startups, were appearing from nowhere, and
Yeah.
investors were just throwing money because it was like this gold rush.
Exactly.
And then the next year, everything started falling down. So it was like, I think it was 1999, like that, 2000 going down, something like that, and then started forming, you know. And then you had Google, Facebook, and other ones, and over time it started growing
again.
And it seems to be similar with crypto. It took 9-10 years to that 2017, where it was this big year, right, where you got involved.
Yeah.
But then it's kind of, it still keeps going up over time, right? It's
Well, first off, the people who made the most amount of money in the .com as well as the crypto era, they're the people that took the risk and invested before the hype happened. Because what happens is the billionaires, the VCs, and the hedge funds, they're taking their profits when you hear the news telling you to invest in cryptocurrency. All right, and that, it's not to say that you can't make profit in those cycles, the bull cycles. They're definitely there to make profit, but we do have these cycles that are increasing. The .com made it easier for small businesses and big corporations to reach their customers. What people will start to understand as they educate themselves and do more their due diligence in the crypto space is cryptocurrencies are providing utility that makes the world better in every different way, not just for making payments. They have, you know, just like a stock, a company can have a utility for, like Tesla, because they do, you know, electric cars. So there's a utility there. They do the solar powered shingles and all these different things that they're working on. So their business model is to make something better for life, or more carbon friendly, or whatever the narrative is for their specific business.
But can you share like an example of a use case for some blockchain startup that's like really benefiting the world?
Well, first off, smart contracts are huge. You know, right now, if we want to get a loan, we have to go to a bank or a private lender and get, you know, raped on rates and whatnot, and we have to either show some form of collateral and then make an agreement, and then maybe even if I have the collateral, they choose not to approve it. Well, with the form of smart contracts, and this is something that I love doing, is I can hold crypto assets and go to a platform. I'm going to use Nexo as an example, and I can get 30% loan to value to 50% loan to value on my crypto. And simple enough is I could have, you know, $100,000 in stable coins, just coins that equal $1. So they're not volatile up or down. They always peg to the dollar. And I can get, you know, $50,000 loan to either buy crypto or buy a house or buy whatever I want. And it's instantly, it's like, I just show that the crypto is there. I leave it on their platform with what's called a smart contract, which protects my assets, so they can't steal it, they can't use it, and then I get this $50,000 loan to do how I see fit. The other cool thing about this, and we can get into this later, is because I've borrowed against my cryptocurrency, then I don't have to pay taxes on it. And that's what the Warren Buffetts and the Jeff Bezos and all these different people in the world do. They never borrow money from other people, they borrow against their current assets. So that's just one example. Other example is Helium, the Helium network, HNT. They have these attachments that go to your modem all across the globe, and what it does is it provides free internet to people that are using their network. So there's so many different examples of utilities, but you'll have to do your own research.
So Helium, basically, you have like free internet for people. How does it work?
Yeah. So what it does is it essentially, and it's a mining rig that sits on top of your modem, and it shares your bandwidth that you're not using so that other people can bounce off it. The cool thing about it is when you have those mining rigs that are bouncing your internet signal off, they start paying you in the Helium token. which again, it was a great token. It made a lot of money in the last bull cycle. So there's a few different utility factors of it. The real world solve is the getting the free internet. The reimbursement or the investment part is either buying the crypto so it goes up in value, or getting the mining rigs to be paid on a monthly basis. Like, I know
it doesn't like slow down your internet or your computer. Or
I've never seen that happen, because again, ideally what they want to do is they want to have not every household, because they want to have like a 300 to 500 meter circumference around it. So they would suggest people not to use it in the same area, because when two different people are using it in a close proximity, then they get less rewards by doing it. But then there's more bandwidth share in those areas. So it depends on how the corporation will continue with their business model. Do they want people to get paid well through the mining rigs, or do they want people to have a better internet signal? And I think it's going to come down to better internet signal in the long run.
So do you think because we are behind this stage of early adoption now, and everyone kind of already knows Bitcoin and things like that, do you think the future is in altcoins and less known blockchain businesses, or it's still in Bitcoin and Ethereum and these major?
So Bitcoin is the gold standard for cryptocurrency, but it's an archaic technology. And again, I don't think most people will understand the terms that we're using here, but Bitcoin is the gold standard. It's the very first crypto that came out after the 2008 crash. It gave people the ability to not have to rely on a bank. It's called a decentralized network. So instead of a bank controlling things and manipulating the market, every person that buys or sells Bitcoin or mines Bitcoin strengthens the market. It can't be copied, it can't be counterfeited, it's just the way that the code works for the whole system. So it's a phenomenal network, but it's a long time to transfer funds. It takes, it's not good to go buy a pack of gum with some Bitcoin, because it could take 30 minutes to an hour for that transaction to go through. Enter Ethereum. Ethereum is a lot faster of a network than Bitcoin is. Issues with Ethereum is the fees are too high. When you're using, to buy a pack of gum for $1, it could cost me $35 in Ethereum. So those were the first gold and silver standard. Now we have all these other cryptocurrencies that are having all these niche focuses. What I believe is mass adoption is already here. It's just not public to humanity. I believe that by the end of 2022, you're going to see these things called CBDCs, which are called central bank digital currencies. There's already over 100 central banks in the world. Aside from the Chinese yuan, which they've already launched their digital yuan during the Olympics, but all these countries are doing this because now, first off, it's easier for them to tax you. The networks are faster. They can, if maybe you were doing a crime, for example, they can just stop your assets and take your assets away from you. It gives them a control. So it's a cryptocurrency, but it's a centralized network. So I believe in the decentralized networks that are the next generations for Bitcoin. Like the, Cardano, for example, is a great example where you can send funds relatively fast. It's decentralized. It also gives you the ability to do smart contracts. And it goes on and on and on. There's so many different currencies. I think that there's a huge ability to make a lot of profit as an investor through the CBDCs that are launching all over the globe, with the cryptos that are allowing the CBDCs to take place, like XRP, Ripple, XLM. XRP is the ticker, Ripple is the company, XLM, which is known as Stellar Lumens. Some of those tokens, or they're called ISO 20022 banking messaging, that is already being implemented, and it will be full swing by the end of 2022. Like in US, the OCC, which controls all the banks in the United States, have been, they have to have the ability to custody customers' cryptocurrency by the end of 2022.
For me, the thing I always thought about, obviously crypto came out of nowhere and it started competing with the fiat monetary system, Fed, and these organizations, right? So my thinking was that they will try to clamp down on some of these behaviors, like in China, for example. Did they make mining illegal in China?
They made Bitcoin mining illegal, but it's not to say that they can't still do it. It's just...
Yeah, but these kind of things impact the adoption and, confidence of
the news
people
comes out and people start selling off.
So what's happening is, because it's a competition for the monetary system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously people in power want to control the money flow.
Of course.
So they try to create now these centralized cryptos that are run by banks, right? That's gonna be the trend, right? But do you think they're gonna be like restricting use of cryptos, or it's just gonna go side by side? You're gonna have like the more decentralized projects and centralized? What do you think it's like?
It depends on the
next
people.
few years?
In my opinion, it depends on the people. It depends on how much knowledge and education is passing between person to person to understand why a centralized currency is not as effective as a decentralized currency. So depends on how many people are watching the news and listening or absorbing to the programming that they're owned by the banks. There's 6 corporations that run the world. These are the people that are making your news stations: Fox News, CNN, CBC, Sky News, BBC. I mean, they're all different corporations. One's a right side opinion, one's the left side opinion, but they're all owned by the same people.
Yeah,
it's the information that's coming from those people are going to dictate that you have to go with company A or company B, but they're centralized. Where, there is so many phenomenal projects out there that allow you to do your own banking by yourself. I don't have to worry. Like, Mike, I'm here. I make passive income as we're doing this video right now. I'm making money constantly through an artificial intelligence trading software that's profiting me every single day, despite the market going up and down.
Let's talk about this project. So you are the CEO of InvestorAcademyCrypto.com.
That's correct.
And what are the services you guys are offering?
So I started InvestorAcademyCrypto.com to help educate people. Like, I wanted to make it as simple as possible, where there's a safe space that people can come and bounce ideas off each other and not have to worry about scams, because there's so many scams in the cryptocurrency space. And I just wanted to educate people on, like, hey, look, here's how I do my research if I'm going to invest into cryptocurrency. Here's how you buy a cryptocurrency. Here's how you sell it. Here's how you trade it. Here's how you can spend it with a real Visa credit card, like a Visa credit card or a MasterCard, and I convert it into cash into the country that I'm in. Like, I'm Canadian dollars, US dollars. I'm here. I'm spending in Great British pounds.
You train people one-on-one, or is it like some seminars, or how does it work?
Ideally, the community has grown where they help each other, right? Like where we have experts that are just there to share information.
It's Telegram mostly, is it?
Telegram is where we do the group sharing. And again, I have been hired to do private lessons, to work with small businesses, medium-sized corporations as well. But ideally, I can't help every single person, so I do what I can to share my information. And then there's moderators, or other people that are trusted in our group where someone can go to them. I mean, we also have a financial advisor that will manage the money for you if you want. I personally, I think it's silly to have someone else manage the money for you, because you can all do this by yourself, and people think it's hard or tricky, but this is where the AI comes into play. You know what I mean? So again, I make it as simple as possible on how to buy it, how to put it on exchanges, how to either manually trade it or do it with an artificial intelligence software, how to use DeFi. We're sitting here, aside from the crypto trading software earning money, the crypto that it's not in that trading software, I'm earning 4% interest per year on it, and it's compounded daily. Every day I get an interest payment, and it's paid to me in each one of the cryptocurrencies that I have on there. Some pay as high as 8 to 10%. That's 10% per year, paid to you every single day.
So this is done by exchanges?
Some exchanges will provide a way for you to get interest. The decentralized platforms, or the DeFi platforms, decentralized finance platforms, are where you get better returns on like the 4% interest per year. It literally continues going on and on and on, because I can also go off platform to a company that, ideally the less, let's say someone has there's 21 million Bitcoins, right? Let's say it's a private company, it's a never coin, they have 10 million Bitcoin or 10 million coins. If there is 10 million coins in circulation, but only 500,000 of them are in circulation, then the value goes up higher. So there's some companies that what they'll do is they'll say, hey, buy the crypto from us and stake it on our staking platform. Staking is essentially earning interest on your crypto, and they will pull the crypto assets offline. They pay you a small percentage, anywhere between 4 to, as I've seen, 22%.
Still many times more than bank would pay you with your interest if you would leave money in the bank.
Look, just by having your money in the bank right now, if you have not touched your money and you have a GIC, a TFSA, these are some things from Canada, if you have cash under your bed, you pretty much, unless you're in Turkey, have lost about 20% value of your finances. If you had 100 grand under your bed at March 2020, it's worth anywhere between $78,000 to $80,000. It may be $100,000 worth of bills, but you can only buy $80,000 worth of things with it because of the rate of inflation that's happening across the globe. And inflation is the biggest killer that people are not really paying attention to. Cost of coming out here, the rental car, all these things are already about 30 to 50% higher than they were last year to 2 years ago when we came out here. The cost of groceries, the cost of gas, the cost of rent, everything that's happening in the real estate industry across the globe. Real estate's going up. People are working less than they ever did. And for a year to 2 years, people were getting handouts from the government because they couldn't work because of the C word, I don't know if we can say that. So
let's get into the AI software that you are involved in. Tell us how it works, and
sure, yeah.
People
so
can sign up and tell us the process.
Yeah. So first off, it's not a new technology. It's actually existed for years. Hedge funds have been using this type of technology in the Forex market, the foreign exchange markets, trading currencies. It's a high-frequency millipede trading system. It's an artificial intelligence that reads algorithms. And what the software company that I work for has done is they recoded the algorithms to be able to read and react to crypto financial charts rather than currency charts of different countries, right? So instead of fiat debt-based dollars for a country, it does various cryptocurrencies that are based in the crypto market. And it is simple as, like for me, we've got multiple hedge funds that are currently using our software. It's that effective. It's been licensed out to multiple hedge funds. Currently, right now, as we're talking, there's over $4.5 billion in crypto assets that are being traded with our software by the hedge funds, let alone the hundreds of millions of dollars by private investors, such as myself. The great thing about it is you don't have to be a hedge fund to use this software. You contact us. Even if you don't own crypto, that's again what we do is you can just have cash and want to be investing into crypto, and we will help you get the cryptocurrency, put it on the exchange. And it's as simple as being on a phone call with myself or one of our representatives, and we would use what's called an API code. Exactly same thing if you had a shipping company for your product online. In Canada, we have Canada Post. I have to get an API code for Canada Post to plug into my webpage so I can ship products out. It's the exact same thing. Once the API code is plugged in, it makes thousands and thousands of trades on the pairs. The crypto pairs is, for example, a Bitcoin and a stable coin, or any pair, but it's two coins that trade back and forth with each other as the markets go up and down. It buys and sells in and out of the profit zones.
Yeah, so let's say I want to start using your software. I go to your website,
Yeah, so investoracademycrypto.com.
You guys are getting in touch through the phone, right? It's like one-on-one?
Yeah, Zoom, Google, Meetup, phone calls. It depends on where the person's located.
It's not automated yet. It's so like you have an onboarding process done by person.
I would prefer to do it as a together and communicating with people, because most of the people, like there's only 2.7% of the world that are actually invested into cryptocurrency, so the stats say. So I think the education, coming back to what we talked about in middle of the interview here, is education is the most important part. And I would never want to put someone, I need to know what people's goals are in order for them to properly utilize the software. Because if someone only has $500 and they want to use the software, it might not be as effective for them, because $500 can only trade so far in and out. It will still make their profit, but it's just, when in cryptocurrency we have these crazy volatile swings, like Bitcoin going from $1,000 to $20,000 in less than a year. Those are amazing swings up. It still goes up and then comes down a little bit, and goes up and comes down a bit, but ideally you want to have X amount, which I would say $5,000 to $10,000 on the very minimum per crypto pair. And with these pairs, like, I'll go over these things with each and every customer. Everything that I have set up, I've learned from the hedge funds.
Yeah, so basically you set it up through an exchange, like
correct. Binance is the best one to use.
So,
and even customers that, like in Ontario, they've prevented us from being able to use Binance. Out of all Canada, Ontario can't use it. US can't use Binance. I'm talking about the actual Binance.com. It's the biggest, best, safest, securest, largest cryptocurrency exchange in the world. But the way we have done this is to be able to help people still use Binance through our offshore accounts. So anyone in the world can actually use Binance with our software.
Because Binance.com is not available to some regions?
Like, as I said, Ontario, we're prevented from being able to use Binance. So if you were to log into Binance from an Ontario IP address, it would say, I'm sorry, you can't use the software here because your zone is restricted. The same thing in the United States. Singapore recently, there's many different countries that are prevented from doing that. But again, that's the powers that be preventing humans, our brothers and sisters, from being able to access the cryptocurrency market, in my opinion.
Okay, so if someone is from a region where Binance.com is not accessible, you have a legal way to actually use
completely
Binance.
Legal. Yep, completely legal.
Through like an offshore account.
Yeah,
this is one of the services.
We help everyone from A to Z. So why just? Yes, the short answer is yep. We can legally help someone to get on Binance, to use the software, and we can completely help people to be able to spend their crypto profits through a tax loophole, so they don't have to pay any capital gains taxes.
And I think this is important for people to understand, that you guys don't touch funds of anyone.
Yeah.
Because all you do is connect your API that is connected with your software to their account. Right?
Exactly. We can't withdraw. We can't add funds to it.
And it does trading within the account
exactly
of the person. So, there's no access to your account or anything like that done by your AI software or company.
The simple explanation is our customers control their assets 100% of the time, and we can't do anything to touch it. But the way our software works, it works for you, and at the end of the month, obviously you can look on the exchange to see how much profit it is, but because we have the API, we send an invoice at the end of the month, and it's based on profit. If our software isn't making you money, then we're not making any money. So it's in our best interest to make our clients as much money as possible.
You charge fees which are based on percentage from the
profit. That's profits earned.
And what's the fee currently like?
So it's 20% of the profit earned. So if a customer is making $1,000 a month profit, then it's a $200 fee. If they're making $10,000 a month, same thing, they're paying a $2,000 fee. And I know a lot of people think that's crazy in the price of the fee, how it works. But show me another place that can make you like 5% return on your principal every single month.
Recently, there was a big decline in the value of crypto markets. How the software was behaving during the decline.
So it's an autonomous self-learning system, and it is able to read and react to changes and fluctuations in the market in less than a split of a second. And so our software doesn't matter if the market is going crazy up, or it's crashing down, or it's just sideways like it's been doing since the exchange. Bitcoin's been at 28,000, 30, 31, 29, and it keeps doing like these similar patterns. It doesn't matter how the market is reading and reacting, it does not lose money. And I have some examples to show you as well through Excel sheets, because our image is based on making people money. So if we are losing people's money with the software, then it's not doing any justice for anyone. And it literally will not lose money. So if it cannot make a profitable trade, it will not execute the trade. And let's say, it has all these trades set up prior, it's thousands and thousands of trades. So let's say that I currently have 10,000 trades set up, and it's just before the crash. And then, the manipulation happens to the market and the market comes crashing down. It will cancel the trades that are currently sitting there until it finds that pattern again where it can make the profit, and then it will start executing its own trades, or executing new trades based on the new patterns. So it literally does not lose money. Now, coming back to this where the market crashed, let's say I have $100,000 for easy number that's in the market, and I'm making, 3, 5, 7, even higher than that. But let's say on the low end, I'm making 3 to 6% per return on that 100,000 each month. Then the market crashes. The value of my assets, the way I set it up is, let's say it dropped 30%, for example, because it was 30% in some areas, a lot more in the alternate coins. But that $100,000 principal will drop down 30% to $70,000. It will still trade and make you that 3 to 6% return. Again, that's a very low number, and we never overpromise and underdeliver. So let's say that you're earning 3 to 6% return, you'll still get that 3 to 6% return on the $70,000 that is reduced to. And then by the next cycle or next week or whenever the next run takes off, that $70,000 could do a 10x, which is very possible. There's a lot higher returns than that. All of a sudden your $70,000 is $700,000 in value. It will still be making you, on the low end, 3 to 6% return on that growth. So whatever the principal value of what your crypto assets being traded on is at on that monthly basis, that's what it's trading in and out of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. I understand it kind of more or less.
I know most people, they'll be listening to this, and it would be like speaking Chinese to people.
On the knowledge of people listening, because obviously, if you have zero understanding of crypto, then you probably wondering what.
That's the great thing about Investor Academy. You don't need to know anything about cryptocurrency. Yeah. We simplify it for you, and again, I literally take your hand and walk you through the process. Depending on where you're located in the world, we help you acquire the crypto assets. We show you how to move it yourself onto the crypto exchange. We get on the phone with you and set up the crypto API code so that it can start trading for itself. I even tell you the exact same pairs that I'm using. I want to help people. So I can tell you through my success and my failures, because I had failures when I first started out. I was greedy, and I just did what I thought was best. When the whole time all I should have been doing, which I'm doing now, is putting my pennies beside the billionaires and the hedge funds' dollars. That's all I do. And so I can share that information with you. And once that's done, it turns on. You don't have to do anything at all. Once it's set up, all you do is go into your exchange every day or hour or month, click refresh. You see how much profit you have there. At the end of the month, when the invoice comes in, the software pays for itself, right? So the idea here is every month the profit that you make is paying for the software. So you're paying in crypto for the software. Then you have all this additional profit after your fee has been paid out, where you can, reinvest it into more crypto. You can take it out and put it into decentralized finance and earn interest on it, or you can put it on those crypto Visa cards that I was showing you, and you can spend it anywhere. I even get 5% cash back from the crypto Visa card that I have where I'm spending paid into crypto. Like, my goal here personally is never to have to use a bank ever again by 2024. I don't want to rely on banks anymore. I'm done with the banks.
With the Visa cards, what brand is
Visa. It's by Visa.
This is like connected to Binance or what?
So there's many different.
To your wallet?
We have our own crypto cards as well. When I say crypto, but we have Visa and MasterCards that people can get where they can put their crypto on it and spend it where it turns it into Canadian dollars. We have the same cards. They can actually wire transfer or put cash onto these cards and still spend it. And the way it works, because of how our cards work, and it's completely legal, the IRS and the CRA can't track where the payments are going on it. So there's Binance has a crypto card, Nexo has a crypto card, Crypto.com is one of my favorite ones that I used up until I got my own. When our company started offering this, which was just recently, I obviously want to support our company, but there's several different places where you can get access to these credit cards. It does depend on the region that you're in with those exchanges. How our cards are available to anyone in the world.
Okay, cool. So, do you want to understand anything or get AI software? Justin is available for consulting.
Like, I'm not even an expert in technology. I'm dyslexic. So writing code is impossible for me to do. I shouldn't say impossible, but it's not feasible for me to be writing code. Again, I've built so much success by being in the right place at the right time. And like, again, I'm here in England. I'm here for 3 weeks with my wife and my kids. We're renting cars. We're living in different places. We've got a beautiful home back home in Canada, like a 3,600 square foot house. And I don't even want to live in Canada anymore. I'm looking to move outside Canada, and when I say retire, I just mean like I just want to retire to a nice warm climate. I don't want to stop working. I love doing what I'm doing. I love helping people. We've got crazy feedback from people who are just getting into crypto, let alone the experts, investors. 90% of my new business is people my dad's age who don't know dick all about cryptocurrency, but they're invested in real estate. They own tons of properties, and they're just sitting there with equity in their property. They pull the equity of their property at the lowest borrowing rates in history, and they put it into the crypto trading software, and then they're earning, again, some of the pairs that I'm like right now, that one that I was showing you that I had just set up since the crypto crash is already paying 14% return on my principal amount, and it's not even been a full month yet. So again, we just want to share the successes with other people, and if they're open to hearing that or wanting that, then we're going to help you out, and you can share it with your friends and family once you learn the tricks of the trade.
Yeah, I think like the blockchain and crypto industry overall is it's not perfect because there are different players.
Yeah,
like we said, they try to centralize it again, but it's still a new thing that can compete with the current system that is the most corrupt system ever.
It will collapse.
We need to have alternatives.
The World Economic Forum it's Davos, Bilderberg Group, World Economic Forum. These people are paving the way for the central bank digital currency methods to happen. They're, in my opinion, if you read the book The Great Reset by Klaus Schwab, and you read Agenda 2030 by the United Nations, which is public information, United Nations, it tells you everything that's happened this far. You can see where they talk about digital currencies. You can see where they talk about the collapse of the current system because there's no way that the U.S. is going to pay their debt off. There's no way that Canada is going to pay their debt off. The entire system on fractional reserve banking was never able, ever to be paid off. It's impossible. You learn about fractional reserve banking, and you'll learn why it's so corrupt. And then when you learn about deflationary assets and decentralized assets, it all just makes more sense. You know, and that's really like how it is.
I mean, people need to start learning about these things, because we give our power away to banks that do what they want with us, and you know, to build like that autonomy.
Yeah,
we
be your
need
own
to
bank.
start taking things in our own hands, and this is happening through the process of learning about these things. So it might seem to some people like, oh, this is so complicated, but actually some of the basic things, and if you have like guidance and things like that, it's not that complex.
It's not, yeah.
And this is the future. And it's also like, you know, like voting with your dollars. You start using services or brands that are more aligned with decentralized projects.
Of course.
You know? So you are in a way supporting businesses that are combating the monetary system, which is the most corrupt system invented. So this should be in the people's interest, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, again, it depends on each person, individual. But for me, I'm interested in my personal health, my personal wealth, and how I interact with the people. Your vibe attacks your tribe. Like, I don't want to spend my time, my energy, and my money in a place where it's not received well and where I don't get something valuable out of it. And like you said, voting with your dollar, voting with your time, voting with your energy. And we got to take our health back before any of this, because if you don't have health, then you're not going to have wealth, or at least you won't be able to spend your wealth. So it's all, in my opinion, encompassed all together. And Mike, you make some great, valid points. You always got that truth theory. Boom.
Is there anything else you want to kind of touch on, add to what we spoke about?
No,
Or
just
like
that
anything
I would
more?
not be where I am today without my beautiful fiance, Jessica Wally. She is my other half. You know, as Jerry McGuire says, you complete me. Even though I was completed. I love you, babe. And my kids are amazing. And my friends and my network, you know, I'm so happy that my vibe attracts these types of tribes.
Cool, man.
Yeah, InvestorAcademyCrypto.com. I sell grass. Boom.
Right,
Taking
thanks.
power back.
Yo, thank you for the chat.
I love you, brother.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. And yeah, if you want to learn anything from Justin, check out his website. We're gonna include the links in the description. And we're gonna enjoy our weekend because it's a bank holiday weekend in England.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Because of the 70th Jubilee. We're not partying because of the Jubilee. We're here
like
on our own accord.
Sober, conscious team here in England.
Yeah.
But thanks for checking this episode of Truth Theory podcast, and till next time.